Okay, let's continue and test this notify all voters feature. So before we do that, I want to move this logic to an actual job first because it's easier to test. So let's start with that. PHP artisan make job, say notify all voters, okay? And let's grab all of this logic and move it in there. So we don't need this anymore. We're gonna dispatch the job directly in here. So first let's go to that, notify all voters. This should take in an idea. So let's do that again, say idea, and that looks good. Let's type into here and import it. And let's make this public. Okay. Let's indent this as well. And let's paste the logic in the handle method here. Okay. Let's make sure to import these. And this should work now. But now we have it isolated into its own job. So let's go ahead and make sure to dispatch this in set status instead of calling the method here. So we can do notify all voters and call the dispatch method and pass through the idea. Okay. And make sure to import this. It's imported already, and I think I can get rid of these ones since I moved it to the job. Okay. So that should still work. Let's verify that. So I'm going to go to 1. Actually, let's do the 1 to 20 as well, or 21. Change this. In progress. Notify all voters. Update. Processing, and we do see those 21 emails coming in. Okay. So let me just clear that out. Delete all. And now we can go ahead and make use of Horizon, which is what I like to use whenever I work with queues. So let's install this. Horizon. What's next? We have to Horizon install. Okay. I believe we have to migrate as well. I'm okay with the defaults here. I guess we don't have to migrate, but we do have to set whoever can see the Horizon dashboard. And I like dark mode, so let's set that. And we can set the admin here. So this will be the same as the isAdmin array we have here. So we can grab this, paste it in here. And we have to set our queue driver to Redis. Okay. So now we set up Horizon. And let's see if this works now. So let's run Horizon here. PHP artisan Horizon. Okay. And we can test this out again. But now, since we're using a real queue driver, this should happen instantly and be thrown on the queue. So before it took some time to process, but now it should happen instantly. Actually, let me open the Horizon dashboard. So let's open a new tab. LC voting / Horizon is the endpoint. Okay, so it is running. And you'll see all the jobs, or the one job and the 21 emails be thrown on the queue here once I hit that endpoint. So let's do this again. So refresh, change the status, notify all voters. It should happen instantly. And it does. You should see all the jobs and everything happen here. There's a mail coming in. The jobs are all done now. Awesome. So we have that one job, and then we have the 21 emails being sent out. And you can see the metrics here, 22 jobs. Okay, so now let's go ahead and write our tests. So we do have that admin set status test that we had a few videos ago. So let's work with this first. So it'll be similar to this one. Can set status correctly, but it's also going to use the notify all voters feature. So let's say can set status correctly while notifying all voters. Oh yeah, one more thing here. Let's go back to the job. Notify all voters. ideally you'd have a flag on the user table that checks if they want to accept notifications or emails. So do something like this. If user, let's say, accepts notifications or something like that, just to make sure that they do want to receive notifications or emails. But in our case, we don't have that, so I'll just leave it for now. And there should be an option to unsubscribe from the mail provider itself anyways. Okay, so we have the same setup as before. We actually don't need this category 2. Even up here, we don't need them. So let me remove those quickly. So we're changing the status to this status in progress. We're calling the method. But before we call the method, let's go ahead and set that new flag to notify all voters. So it's called notify all voters. Okay, set that to true. So this is them checking that checkbox. And then we call the method. So we want to verify, or for now, we just want to verify that this job, so notify all voters, is being thrown onto the queue. For the actual functionality, we'll do that in a unit test. So we can use fakes here. So we can do queue fake. And let's make sure to import this. Okay. And we can say, or make sure that nothing is pushed to the queue yet. So let's say assert nothing pushed at this point. So after we do all this livewire stuff, it should hit that piece of code that throws this job on the queue. So after this, and I don't care about this anymore because we have that in the previous test, we can do something like this. So let's say, let's assert that that job was pushed onto the queue. So assert pushed, notify all voters, class. And if you want to inspect the contents of it, you can pass in a closure as well, but I'm okay with just asserting that the actual job was pushed onto the queue. So yeah, let's test this out. And it's not passing. I did not spell assert correctly. Try that again. And it does pass. So now I want to make a unit test that tests that the job actually does what it's supposed to do. So in this case, I'm going to test that the job actually sends out an email to everyone who voted for the idea. So let's go ahead and make a new job. I'm going to stop Horizon here. And let's say make test. And let's call it notify all voters test. And let's make a unit test, like I said. Okay. And actually, I want to move it to a jobs folder in the tests. So notify all voters test. Let's move it to a jobs folder. Jobs. Let's move this in there. And let's change the namespace here. Jobs. And as always, let's just use the Laravel test case. And let's use refresh database as well. Use refresh database. Okay. So we only have one test here. And that test is it sends an email to all voters. Okay, so I'm going to paste in some setup here. Okay, so I have two users, user and user B. Let me import user. And we have a category. Again, import all this stuff, status, idea. And the important thing here is we have two votes. So one from user A and one from user B. And we're voting on the same idea here. So if we go to that job, we're going to want to fake the mail here and just assert that it actually was queued. So let's do that. So let's say mail fake. Okay. Let's import mail. And here we can actually dispatch the job. So it hits that code. So notify all voters, dispatch, and we'll pass in the idea that we have here in our setup. Okay. Let's import this. And I spelled it wrong, of course. Import. Okay. And we can use the assert queued method on the mail facade. So mail assert queued. And we want to assert against this mailable. So idea status updated mailable. Okay. And we can also pass in a closure here. Let's accept the mail. And we can make some assertions here as well. Or not assertions, but just make sure that some of the mail properties are correct. So mail, the sender should be, in this case, it will be this first user. So in this case, my email here, and the other user is user@user.com. So we can say has to and pass in my email here. And if you want, you can also check if the subject is correct. So we can do mail. We have to call it the build method first. So let's do that. And then we can call the subject or grab the subject. Okay. And the subject was, let me just paste it in. Okay. So we're asserting that the mail was queued and it has these properties. So let's see if this works. And it does. Cool. So you can do this for each voter. In our case, there are only 2. So we can just duplicate it and then change the email here for the to recipient. So it's user@user.com. And this should pass as well. Okay. Let's run our entire test suite. I should make an alias for this, for the parallel feature, which I'll be using a lot more now. Okay, and everything is passing. So let's go ahead and make a commit here. This is 35. Episode 35. Notify all voters. Test.